My parents have agreed to a proposal for me. How can I tell them that I already have a fiancé? 24 female, belong to a society where arranged marriages are very common. My older brothers got married to women my parents chose for them even though they had already moved out and had shifted to US away from our culture. I have been living on my own since I was 20. I have a house of my own and a nice job, though it was rare in our culture to let young women live on their own. My parents supported me a lot. They allowed me everything, but we never talked about marriage, as it goes without saying that all children marry the person their parents select. Dating was always prohibited for me, but not for my brother. They were just strictly told that they can never marry the girls they date unless parents approve, which was next to impossible. When I started seeing my now fiancé, 28 male, I did not tell my parents despite the guilt because I had never hid from them anything. A year later he proposed and I, despite knowing every restriction on me, said yes because that was honestly what I wanted and somewhere I was and still am aware that he is exactly the kind of guy my parents would choose for me. Especially his caste. We belong to the same caste and marrying within the caste is most important to my parents. It's been 4 months since we are engaged and I tried every single day to find enough courage to tell my parents, but I could not. I live at 6 hours drive away from my hometown and have only visited my parents once after getting engaged. My parents called 2 days ago to ask me if I can visit them as they have something very important to discuss with me. When I forced him to tell, they said that they have found a good proposal for me and they think that they should yes to them, but I still need to meet the family, especially the guy, before they agree. Now I am visiting them in a few days and I know I need to tell them, but I am scared and nervous. I fear their reaction, but what I fear more is their rejection. I really love my fiancé and because of my parents I really do not want to leave him. I do not even have a plan in case they say no to marrying him. My fiancé knows this whole situation with my parents. He wants to help me tell them. But I think they will get even more angry if I show up with him. I have decided to talk to them first and ask them to meet him. I know most of you must not be familiar with such situation, but if you can give me any advice I will be grateful. TLR parents have found a proposal for me. How can I tell them that I am already engaged? As someone from a similar culture, I can assure you that what you do not want is to have your parents be embarrassed in front of that other family. So tell them the truth right away so they have enough time to cancel the meetup. And tell them to use some culturally appropriate face-saving excuse. They can even simply say you are not ready for marriage and need more time. You will make this 1,000 times worse if you keep procrastinating and even see the prospect in their family. It will then spiral out of control and will become a huge mess. And don't wait until the last minute either. Everyone would have started preparing for it a few days in advance. Have your fiancé go with you, but stay nearby in a hotel. Best case, your parents are open to meeting him and he's close enough to do so quickly. Worst case, you'll have strong support with someone who loves you if things don't go well with your parents. You are your own person. You can choose to marry the fiancé that you chose for yourself. Life is too short to let it happen to us, rather than experiencing it to the fullest. Man, this made me sad. This is your decision, not your parents'. Also, they might have wisdom to share with you, and no doubt they love you. Try to work it out with them instead of having everyone get stressed and risk overreaction. They sound like they realize the world is changing. Good luck, heart. Tell them ASAP. Tell them on the phone. Do they know exactly where you live? Tell a white lie and say you're already married. I don't know. My parents and I were in the exact same situation and mine threw me out. I wish you lots of luck. I don't think there's any good way. Be upfront is all I can say, and sooner rather than later. Good luck. Look, chances are you are going to have to make a choice between your parents and fiancé. It's very likely that they will be angry and I'll be surprised if they don't tell you to break up. They will probably break contact with you and rest of the family likely would also, so basically be ready to be disowned. Also, one thing you need to remember is that if, let's say, you and your partner end up breaking up after you two marry, your parents and everyone you are related to will hold it on your head for the rest of your life that it will drive you mad. What I can't understand is, what did you think would have happened? You shouldn't go in unprepared, but what can be done at this point, and do not ambush them with your fiancé because things will get instant ugly. They were just strictly told that they can never marry the girls they date unless parents approve, which was next to impossible. Then what was the point? Honestly, girl, you gotta tell them. Don't bring him yet just in case. But you gotta just be real. Look guys, I'm engaged already. Tank the pre-proposal meet and greet with the other family and then say no to marry them. Then let your fiancé swoop in and agree to get engaged. They make movies about things like this in Bollywood. Sorry to hear you're going through this, and it's difficult that parents still think they know better about your life when you already seem to be quite capable of deciding on your own. Suggest a family movie night, watch The Big Sick. Afterwards say, you know, this reminds me. I guess most of us are unfamiliar with this type of society. What is the worst thing that can happen if your parents are displeased? Most people from Western cultures would say, live your own life, and do what you want, etc. But that is tough if you live in a country where, for example, you could be hurt or killed for this. You need to grow a spine. It's your life. Tell your parents that while you appreciate their input, you are respectfully declining their suitor. When they ask why, tell them you're already engaged. Your parents literally have no ability to prevent you from marrying your fiancé. If you choose not to marry him, it will be exactly that, your choice. Parents who love you would not attempt to force you to marry a stranger. Chances are they will make you stay and marry their guy of choice if you're not in a Western country. I would not tell them there. I feel bad for your fiancé because the writing is on the wall. I would let the guy go because or he's gonna get dumped for an arranged marriage or his wife is gonna be bullied by her family. You don't seem like a type who can say no to them and be ready to move on into future on your own. If you think your fiancé is exactly the kind of person your parents will choose for you, why not make it look like an arranged marriage? Try sending his profile as a proposal to your parents. It's a typical movie-like scenario and I think it might just work. You might as well tell them it's gonna ruin your relationship, but you're gonna be unhappy with a total stranger, don't know where you're from but how it everything works out. Is there a family member you can talk to for help and support? Telling them. One of your brothers? My culture is different from yours, but in case of sensitive issues we go through aunts and uncles. They are the ones who break the news. I don't know how applicable that is. If something like this was to happen, your fiancé's family would approach your family through the said aunt, uncle and make arrangements. I don't know if that would help. Life is too short for all this shit. Just tell em, this is the man I'm gonna marry and that's the end of it. Obviously use some tact at the start and gauge their reaction. But if you really love your fiancé, you shouldn't take no for an answer. Even if a fight breaks out. Think about it. Imagine if you go through with this and then you regret your whole life. Just for your parents' wishes. Go there with your fiancé and gifts. Don't go alone. You came out married out of this visit against your will. I'm sorry you have to face this, but as you mentioned, your fiancé is in your parents' criteria, so maybe they can see past the promise they made to other family. FFs. This is hard. I can't imagine the weight you felt under. But you can make it if you and your fiancé handle it together. Even if they say no, marry him anyway. Love is hard to find, don't let it go for anyone. Mom, Dad, we need to talk. I'm not going to marry this stranger that you picked out for me. If I marry at all, it will be to someone I choose. I am not your property. If I choose someone you don't like and you try to force me to choose between you, you will lose. Understood? Your fiancé proposed despite knowing your parents didn't know about him, or did you lie to him too? My guess is that it will come down to you picking a culture for you to live in. I doubt you're going to get to have it both ways, especially since your brothers both followed your parents' wishes. Please allow your fiancé to accompany you. Let your parents know beforehand over the phone that you have concerns about this arrangement and you would like to speak to them adult to adult. If possible, do it in a public place. Please let them know that you wish that they had forewarned you that they were trying to set something up, because you have had your own plans and you would like for them to meet with your fiancé. The fact that he wants to speak to them generally says volumes about him stepping up as a man and head of household. And as others have said, please do not go anywhere near them or with them alone. I've seen too many who have gone home for a visit and have been trapped, coerced into these things, illegal or not. First and foremost, if you don't tell your parents before you visit them, and you meet up under the pretense of meeting the man they want you to marry, you're wrong there. Like you'd be in the wrong. Think of how your actual fiancé will feel. How uncomfortable they'll be the entire time you're away. You need to tell your parents. Do it over text, Skype, Zoom, or a phone call. Send him a letter. Hey Mom and Dad, I got engaged. If you don't like it, don't come to the wedding. Definitely do not go there and tell them in person. Have your fiancé with you when you call, text, or FaceTime with them. Tell them on the phone if they love you, they'll understand and accept the person who makes you happy. They said that they have find a good proposal for me and they think that they should yes to them, but I still need to meet the family, especially the guy, before they agree. They are not forcing you to marry him, and indeed appear to want you to approve him before they say yes. Now is the time to open up and tell them your situation. Do not go to your parents for permission. You are an adult woman living independently, and regardless of their culture, you are not property. They cannot dictate how you live your life. Do not drive 6 hours to get into an argument with them. I don't want to make assumptions about your parents, but that makes you vulnerable and alone in their world. Call them and tell them you are marrying someone else. Don't ask them if you can, tell them you are going to. Until you are married, do not go and see them. You may lose them, but is keeping them worth abandoning your independence and freedom for? This is obviously hard because you've been raised with these expectations and within their culture, but you are free to make your own choices. Why the fuck would you leave him because of your parents? If you actually love him like you claim you do and want to marry him, then there isn't an answer here. Say, fuck you mom, fuck you dad, I'm going to marry the person I actually know and love and not the person you decide. It's your life, not theirs. If they cut you off, so the fuck what? You are an adult and can take care of yourself. Or is that the problem here? You want to secure mommy and daddy's money and are willing to dump the fiancé for the money, but you want Reddit to justify your decision for you. If you visit them alone in person, there is a good chance they'll do something drastic. I've had friends who have visited home only to return afterwards engaged. Try ABC Decis, I'm guessing you're a part of that demographic. I wouldn't go alone if I were you, if at all. I have a question though regarding if they accept this proposal. What happens if they do? Would you be forced to marry the guy because of a contract or something, or could you refuse? I think you should talk to your brother, he can help you out. It's better to do all these stuff over phone. One more thing, how is your family? Are they really orthodox and conservative? What I am trying to say, in my culture some people are so against love marriage they kill their kids, honor killing. So be careful. Disowning kid is one thing, killing is another. Last, I hope you love your partner enough to take stand for him. My biggest concern is, if you go to meet your parents, will you be able to freely leave again? I would suggest meeting halfway, in a public space, and having someone nearby that you can call on if need be. Maybe I'm overreacting, but my only experience with arranged marriages, things didn't go well when the potential bride objected. You don't say which country you're in, only that it's the culture of arranged marriages, daughters not being allowed to be independent, so I'm not sure if the country has more freedoms for you than your culture offers, or not. Why do you parents have to say yes to anything? You are an adult. Your life and your future is yours. Don't let any misplaced feelings of tradition dictate your partner or your future. Choose your happiness. Dude, just go and tell them. I understand it won't be easy at all and they would most probably be very angry. But if you really love this guy and want to be happy, then it's worth fighting. Best wishes for you. This is a situation that has been known to you for a long time. But the whole thing is going to be brand new to your parents. I'm presuming they did not even know you were dating, let alone someone outside of your culture, presumably, let alone engaged to be married. To them this will be completely out of the blue. And it's outside of what they expect from any of their children, but, presumably, especially of the daughter. So, their initial reaction may not be their final feelings on the matter. They'll need some time to process everything. I'm presuming a few things here, but my essential message is that it might take multiple conversations and time before they come around, if they do. Best of luck to you. I hope you do well and have harmony in your life. I do not even have a plan in case they say no to marrying him. Are you in a place where they would have the legal, or semi-legal right to force you to marry or not? I will be marrying X. It's not a debate or a discussion. If you can't tell them, then honestly you aren't ready to be married. Is it possible to go the arranged route with your now fiancé? Like have his parents talk to your parents? The way I see it, you should have told your parents the truth the moment you agreed to your fiancé's proposal. If you don't even have the courage to stand up for your choices in life, you should have accepted the proposal in the first place. Right now, you agreed to the proposal but you don't want to deal with the consequences of having accepted the proposal. It just seems to me like you don't want to deal with reality. Best case scenario, your parents accept your fiancé, worst case scenario they disown you. Could this situation turn dangerous or life-threatening for you, is I think the number one question. Honor killings happen all the time within specific cultures, it's just not in the news a lot. I would suggest getting a hotel in the hometown and have your parents come meet you for breakfast. You can be on neutral ground, and have other people around if on the small chance they tried something. Or maybe a Zoom call. Good luck. You got this. Would it make sense to have his parents contact yours and make an offer? Within the context of your culture, if you think he's exactly what they'd pick for you already, it seems like a good way to work around things. I think the only thing you can do at this point is to plan a visit and tell them. It's going to be hard and it'll probably be uncomfortable, but it has to be done at this point. They might not react well, so give them time to digest the information. They may come around after sitting with the information for a while. What do you think will happen when you tell them? If you feel you're at risk or they can in some way trap you into this arrangement, I'd recommend telling them over phone call or text. Before you tell them, I'd have all of your ducks in a row if they cut you off or take drastic action. 1. Make sure they don't have any important documents. Birth certificate. 2. They aren't on any of your accounts or financials, credit card, house, car. 3. They or any of your family don't have keys to your house or car. 4. You're not giving or receiving money from them. 5. Social medias are private or don't contain anything that could lead him to your fiancé, work, house, or friends. Hope for the best. But expect the worst. Your parents may surprise you, but please be careful. What country and subculture is this? It will help a lot with the advice. From one desi to possibly another, meet them in a public place, like a restaurant, not their home. It's never worth taking a chance on how parents are going to react to their kids going against their will in a substantial way in a culture that tolerates, perhaps even glorifies, parental violence.